Welcome to Lesson 1, an intro to PHP. In this tutorial, I will be talking about the basics of PHP, how to get set up, and a couple of extra stuff. So, first of all, you will need PHP, of course, installed on your server. For this tutorial and the next ones, I will be using PHP version 5.2. However, any other version should do just fine. Okay. Now, in case you didn't know, PHP is one of the best languages to use on your website, and it's used by many major companies like Google and Facebook. But let's get started. First of all, you will need a file editor. I'm using cPanel in this case. That came with my hosting package. However, any other file manager that can create files, directories, and edit the codes will be acceptable. Now, first of all, we need to create a file. I set aside a directory just for our learning. Let's create it, and we'll call it 1 for lesson1.php. Create new file. And we can also open up our code editor. And we can see that we have nothing in it so far because we didn't write anything. Okay, so now if we open up our directory, we can see that we have this one file. And if we open it, you'll see that we have nothing. Now, that's because we haven't produced anything in it. So to open up our tags or tell our engine that we are now using PHP, we do less than question mark PHP and then question mark greater than. Now there is a shorter form of this, which is just like that, or no, just like that, but you need something called short tags enabled. You can find more on your PHP info, but we're just gonna go like this. Okay, so in order to write something out or print it, we do echo, followed by the string that we want to print. Let's do hello world. We also end our lines with a semicolon, just like any other programming language. If we save our changes, go back to the page and press F5, we will see that we now have hello world. But if we view our source, you can see that it's just hello world. This is because PHP is server side. It doesn't, you will not see it in the source because you don't ever see the PHP. Whenever you call the page, your server will run the PHP and PHP will create an HTML file based on the output. It's basic input and output, basics of programming. Another version of echo is print. However, studies have shown that print is indeed somewhat slower than echo, so echo is the main thing used. You may also see that it does not have a new line, but even though we have a new line here. This is because, of course, it prints out the HTML, so all it really sees is this and this. We can make a new line by putting in our HTML code for new line right here. And of course, you can echo out HTML. Just like that. That concludes our tutorial for today. I'll see you next time. I hope you find this useful, but that is all. Thanks for watching. Welcome to tutorial 2, installing XAMPP on your computer. Now XAMPP is basically a tool that you can install on any OS, or most of them. Pretty sure they have one for Windows, one for Linux, and a few for the other types. But basically what it is it makes it so that you can run Apache, MySQL, and PHP on your computer. This is useful for two purposes. The first is developing. Say that you have this amazing idea, but you don't want to invest the money into a web server yet. You can create your idea and test it all, and see if it works, if you can get it to be fully functional, and then you can set up or buy your server. But also, it's to test your scripts if you don't want to waste the space on your web server, even though PHP files are incredibly small. But anyhow, it's just you. Okay, so first of all, you will need to download it. Download it for your OS. I recommend the exe file, or the executable. And once you're done installing, I installed mine on the C drive. It will open up this, and you just choose whatever you want. But once it comes down to the last part, start the XAMPP control panel. I chose yes, and this little panel will pop up. This is where you can run your stuff. And so basically we'll run Apache and we will run MySQL. And from here we have our shell access, setup, port check, explore, CSM or SCM, refresh, help, exit. Explore opens up our file path to the files that we use. And you can like mess around, look around. And htdocs is where we store our stuff, our scripts that we can run on our computer. Now, a lot of people, before they figure out XAMPP, they tend to just save the files to their computer, and they're like, what the heck, it won't run. Now, that's because your computer does not have a PHP compiler built into it. You will need to install one. And personally, I think XAMPP is the best. So now we can, if we go to our local host, just type http://localhost/ and enter, we can see that we come up here. It redirects us to XAMPP, and actually before that you'll get something like this. You choose your language. There we go. Now you can see that we have all this stuff. Of course you could use whatever. You can use 127.0.0.1, but I just like localhost. Now from here we can view our status. Just like that. Our security, documentation, components, PHP info. Actually, we should view this. We have PHP version 5.3. It's perfect. Now, let's script. Basically, all we need to do now is open up our HTC docs, and you could write your PHP script right in here, or instance, that one's right there. I have no idea where it leads to. Let's go. It's just a small little redirect thing. But yeah, that's basically how you install XAMPP. That's how you use it. All you need to do is locate your install location and go to htdocs. And from there you can access it by going to your localhost. And very simple, very easy. Thanks, and I hope to see you again. Hello and welcome to Lesson 3, Learning PHP Syntax. Today we're going to be learning the basic syntax of PHP and stuff such as the opening tags, commenting, stuff like that. So first of all, let's create our PHP file. Actually, this would be 3. And let's open it up in our code editor. Now, the opening tags of PHP are rather simple. It's just the less than mark, question, PHP. That is all. Now, of course, if you have short tags enabled, you can remove the PHP from that, making it a lot shorter. And if you're inserting PHP into HTML, then it will make it a lot shorter for you, which will be easier to read and such and such. But just for this, we're gonna make it like that. And then to end it, we do our question mark and then greater than sign. Okay, so let's start on comments. Now, the regular // creates a line comment, just like this. Comments are not read by the engine, so they're not processed. It doesn't really do anything except for it's for your own benefit of labeling your code. Of course, a lot of people like to name the creator, what it does, stuff like that. It's really useful for if you're selling your PHP scripts. Okay, now that's a regular line comment. Here's a block comment. Slash and asterisk, or star, asterisk, slash. That's basically it. And right in between here, you can have anything and it won't be rendered. Of course, for neatness, I usually insert these. Just looks a lot better, in my opinion. To show that the comments are not rendered, or why do I keep on saying render, sorry, run or executed, we can insert these echo tags. And also put an echo inside of one of our comments. Let's save that. That was comment 1, that was comment 2. As you can see, it ignored our comments. Let's continue on. Most PHP is written in between or inside of HTML code, but a lot of people disagree that, or say that we shouldn't do this, as for it makes sort of a mess. But personally, I don't really care. I'm able to read my own code, and I'm fine with that. We would wrap it in normal HTML tags. Not gonna get all fancy with them. Anything out of these PHP marks will be rendered as HTML. So now we can F5. And of course you won't see it because we didn't do anything. But if we view our source, we can see that's wrapped in HTML tags. Thank you, that's the lesson for today. We'll see you next time. Welcome to Lesson 4, Variables. Variables are very simple inside of PHP. All we need to do is have the $, and then a variable name. That's basically all you need to do. Now, variables cannot start with a number. This would be invalid. Variables can start with an underscore, but after the underscore it cannot start with a number. However, it can start with a number score and then some letters. And also, you can have letters and then numbers. To assign a variable, all you need to do is write down your variable, and then equals, and then whatever you want it to equal. Just like that. You can also assign it here when you first declare the variable. And we are also able to use our variables in multiple situations, such as an echo. We put a period in between our string, our main echo string, and the variable. This basically connects the two. Of course, you can also just do echo variable. That works too. Now if we save this and then go to our page, oh yes, of course, our invalid variables are causing some problems. There we go. Now you can see that our first variable is equal to 11, and then since we reassigned our variable, it now equals 10. We can also use the variables and ifs and while, stuff like that. You can echo it out, print it out. So basically, you can do everything with a variable. Also, combining, just a quick little tip, if you're using HTML, let me write up our little tags. We can put our variables inside of parts of our HTML. So if we have a button or text area, I'm not sure if this is right, just guessing right now. We can echo out our variable into, say, text areas. And perfect. Now this is our text area, and you can see that we echoed out our variable into here. We can also have multi-line variables, just like this. Var equals, this is line 1, 2. This is line 3. And that would be valid. Oops. Small problem. Forgot to end it. There we go. And we could also get that out. If you have a problem with the quotation marks, such as you want to store some piece of HTML code, you can change it to a single quotation, and a single quotation can only be ended with another single. So then after you start and end with these singles, no matter how many doubles you have, it won't affect the line. That is basically all for variables. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. That is all. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to be learning about PHP strings. Now this tutorial is for people who have been through the first few videos on how to set up PHP, how to start with it, and a few basic commands. So first of all, you know a variable starts out with the $, and our variable name. Of course, one of the variable types that you can use are strings. This is a string. Let's look at a few things that we can do. First of all, we can convert numbers to strings, and just like this. Just like that. That's basic, but you should have learned that in the variables video. Let's take a look at what we can do with these strings. We can figure out the string length, str length, var. If it's equal, or if it's equal to 0, then we know that the string is nothing. However, there is a faster and better method. If is set var 1 this basically looks for isSet basically checks to see if a variable is set there. But checking to see if var variable is set on the first character, then, or if it's not set, if it doesn't find any characters or at the first one, then it will know that there's no character there, and there will be no character ahead of that, which means that it's 0, so it's empty. We can remove from a string very simply like this. str_replace. Now we choose the word that we want to replace. Then we choose the word that we want to replace it with. And then we choose our target, which is the variable. Variable echo new. Save that and go into here. Strings. Here's our first string. This is a string, and then after our replace, it changed string to string. Only weird. We can also do a few things, such as str to lower bar, which turns everything into lowercase, or to upper, which turns everything into an uppercase. There's also another useful little tool where it stops a hacker from putting in PHP variables or stuff that would ruin or hack your site. Well, it's called strip tags. Basically, it removes HTML and PHP tags from the input. And we didn't have anything out. So that is basic strings. Very easy. Strings are the most used variable ever. There is a lot more to learn. You can go to PHP's website and Google or look up some strings, and they have a full list of all the PHP strings. Remember, these are just a few of the most common. There are a bunch of other ones that will help you in your future projects. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome. In today's video, we are going to be learning about operators. Operators are used to change values of variables, and they are used for comparing variables. Let's get started with some basic arithmetic operators. The first one we're going to learn is the basic adding and subtracting. We have these two variables, x and y, and adding is very simple. It's just our first variable plus our second variable. Oops. We can see that this outputs 10 because 5 plus 5 is 10. We could also subtract. Which is 0, because 5 minus 5 is 0. We can go on and on, but there's also multiplication and division remainder. It's called modulus. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. There's also increment and decrement. Increment is basically plus 1, just like that. It's the same as doing plus 1. Now let's look at some assignment operators. These are used in if-else. If x is equal, or actually, this is wrong. Assignment operators changes the value of a variable. So x equals y, that means z will equal y. Now, we can also do plus equals, which is where it takes this and adds this to it. So it's basically z equals z plus y. We also can use subtract equals. That works too. We can also do multiplication equals, division, and division remainder. Now, comparison operators. These are the ones that are used in if-else. If x is equal to y, echo equal. These two equal signs are for comparison. It does not turn x into y. It compares the two. It will return true if this is equal to that, but it will return false if it's not. We can also have an exclamation point, which an exclamation stands for not. So it's basically not equal to. So if x is not equal to y, then display they are not equal. Just like that. We also have is not. This also works as is not equal. This is greater than, less than, is greater than or equal to, or is less than or equal to. All of these comparison operators are fairly simple, and you could pretty much mix and match them as you go. Now we have some logical operators, which is where we can do, if we want to say compare two things, or not two things, if we want to do two comparisons in one if, we can do it just like this. And C is equal to 5. We'll just make it to 4. This makes sure that both of these have to be true in order to continue. We also have these two lines. I just call them the lines. Don't know their real name, but the two lines right above your enter, you have to hold shift to use them. They are or. So if either this or this are equal, or are true, then it will display our message. And that's pretty much it for operators. Of course, like I said before, you can mix and match some of them, but that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we will be learning about PHP if-else statements. If-else, there are a few forms of it. They are all very basic. Here we go. Now the first type is one line. It's if, the basic, if, and then we do our comparison here. And this is assuming you have viewed the last lesson, operators, which tells you the basic operators of if-else. If y is equal to x, echo, they are equal. This is all one line, very simple. Save. F5, and you'll see that they are equal. Now that's basic. Now let's learn if-else. We can also just press enter, and we'll have this one line. Else. Just like that. And we will see that it says that they are equal. However, if we change a value, it will turn into they are not equal, because x and y are not the same variables. Now if you want more lines, all you need to do is insert one of those little curly brackets, and then give one for else. Just like that. we can also do if or else if, which is where else if we could basically have another if here. And then else will be if all else fails. So if this fails and then this fails, then else will be run. And let's make y not equal z, but well, x, then let's make it equal z. There we go. Y is equal to z. That's because our first if returned a false because y is not equal to z, but then our second if, or our else if, which returned true because y is equal to z, and then else they are not equal. That is basically all for if else. If else is a very useful tool. That is all. Thanks for watching. Hello, this is another PHP tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how to use the switch tool. Switch is an alternative to if, and it's very useful. Normally, if you wanted to check if I were 5 or 6 or 7, you would do something like if I equals 5, and then you would repeat this over and over. But that can be a little bit confusing and long, so there's switch. It's basically switch our variable, then our opening curly brackets. And inside here we have what are called case. Case is you basically just say case and then what the variable might be, and then you give what would happen if the variable is that. So case 5 echo I is 5. And then to stop from running after that, once we're done with the code for 5, we break. And then we do case something like 6. We can say echo I is 6. Also, if you want to check if it's nothing, it would be default. We can also do string variables, such as case string and we can also do true or false. Switch is pretty much a very good alternative if you have a long list of variables that you need to check for. Another alternative to using the curly brackets is just to have this switch, and then once you're done, and switch. I don't really like that, but it's just another way. That's basically all there is to switch. It's very easy, and it's a very good alternative. Just, yeah. Hello, it's me again with another tutorial. In this one, we're going to be learning about PHP arrays. Arrays are useful for storing data or variables and making it really small and really easy to access them. Let's take a look at an array. This is a basic array. Now, basically how an array works is how you use it is you have your array, and you insert one of these brackets. You insert the key to the value that you want to access, and you close that, and that will return the value. Arrays are sort of hard to explain. Basically, it's like this. You have an array, and it's basically a variable that stores a bunch of variables. I'm just going to explain this really simple. But basically, you designate like an ID or whatever you want to call it, and you give that ID a value. You can do this over and over. So you can have something like an array where you have an ID of username, an ID of password, an ID of email, and therefore later on, when you want to access it, you can do something like info email, and it will pull up the value you assigned for that email value, or email variable. So you can change stuff like this, and then our variable, like we can also do stuff like strings, x equals 5, whatever we want to have it, and of course we can just echo everything out. We can echo out whatever we want. And that would echo out 5, because we assigned 5 right there, and we echoed out 5, the variable. To delete a variable, all you have to do is unset r, and then our variable name, or we could just do the whole array. That is pretty much it for arrays. Basically, when you declare the variable, you just have to do array, and then our ID. When we do this equals then or greater than sign, which sort of looks like an arrow, and then the value of that ID. So yeah, arrays are very simple. I use them all the time. They're very good, very neat. It's perfect. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome again. In this tutorial, we are going to be learning about while loops. While loops basically repeat the same function over and over until the variable you're checking for changes. Let's take a look at one, shall we? Let's create a int called I with a value of 0. Let's do while I is less than 5, we will run this script. We'll echo out I and a new line, and then we'll increase I. Now basically what this means is while I is less than 5, then we will run this script. And basically once it hits this, it will basically go back up to here and run it. But since we also have this little I++ here, it will increase our I plus 1, so then after about 5 runs of this, it will stop, because I will no longer be less than 5. Let's run it. And we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because 0 counts as 5. And basically that is all. One quick warning though, do not put yourself into an infinite loop. While true, something like this, where a value always returns true, will run forever. Let's take a look at that. And it will keep on printing while it's loading. This page will never be done loading. Yeah, that's bad, because our script is still executing. Oh my. We'll just stop that. Okay. That's pretty much all for a while. Just a quick little tip: if you're like waiting for something like some other function or to change a variable, and there's a chance that the variable change could fail due to some sort of database connection, whatever you're trying to change, I would recommend using I instead of checking for the variable. So I mean, like have it like a number of attempts to check for the variable before it times out, or yeah, you create sort of a little fake timeout script, and so then you don't end up running forever because you are waiting on your function to update a variable, but yet it really won't be updating the variable because it failed the first time. So yeah, that's pretty much all it is for whiles, and hope to see you next time.